Hi. This time, this is going to be a sort of invitation, or rather like an interest gauge, because I have the intention of starting an online campaign. I've been running this amazing fantasy campaign with my group in the physical table, and it's the only campaign that I have played in my life that actually gets me excited about running a parallel campaign. And because I don't have other players aside from my regular group, I wanted to see if there are people here in the YouTube in my channel that are interested in playing that fantasy campaign, because oftentimes as I am running things for my group, I keep thinking, what if they had done this instead of that? What if they had talked to this non-player character? What if they had killed that other non-player character? So it really gets me thinking about the possibilities. It is quite maddening. So I thought maybe I should start an online campaign with the intention perhaps of streaming this, of recording the session and putting it in my channel to give a positive example on how to actually roleplay in a tabletop role-playing game. So this video is about that. It's all about an invitation, an open invitation, but this doesn't mean that I am going to accept all players, right? I am looking specifically for role players. That is not a mother may I sort of player, someone that attempts to almost all the time stay within character. Because there are going to be moments, for example, when you want to spend luck for a reroll, the character is not going to be like, I spend luck. No, you're going to announce, I want to spend a point of luck on my reroll and such. But let me tell you about this campaign and this system. I am going to be using the Quick and Classic system. I am going to be making all of the rolls. It's such a simple system. The players only need to focus on their own character actions. You are going to describe how you're going to be attacking the enemy, who you're going to be talking to, what you're going to be attempting, climbing up this, opening that. I am going to be making the rolls according to your actions. The character sheet is incredibly simple. It's the Quick and Classic sheet. It's the stats in Quick and Classic are so simple that in a single sheet of paper, you can, a letter size, you can easily fit 6 characters there. The stats are that easy to register or to bookkeep. So like I said, I am interested in players that want to focus on roleplay. Describing your actions, I will make the rolls. Perhaps I will refer or ask about, do you have a specialization in this, or is this your preferred action? Things like that, and you only need to confirm, but I will be making all of the rolls. We're going to be handling things in character. I am not going to be constantly saying or asking, what do you do? Every time. I'm just going to give you my description of the encounter, of the area, etc. And you are free to interrupt me whenever you like. But of course you want to obtain as much information as possible. But like I said, this is about proactive players. This campaign is not going to focus on a action-packed cinematic style. It's more like simulationist. Now let me talk about this game world. This is a Dark Ages campaign, very Dark Ages. There are elements of fantasy, but it is somewhat realistic. Think of it like a low fantasy campaign. It doesn't have any real references except some elements from Norse history and myth. When it comes to the values, they are very different from our own. It's a dark time where, well, you could say that in some places, in some cases, it still happens like that, but in that context, it is a given that people are only worth as much as they work or as much as they are useful. So let's say that someone kills a husband or a father. This doesn't mean that the killer is going to be immediately executed or killed. It means that the killer needs to have enough money to pay for the value of that victim. How horrible is that? So this means that if a very wealthy person wanted to kill someone, that person could actually take the chance of killing that person as long as you had like the money to pay for the value of what you have just eliminated. quite dark. So the main characters are kind of like the heroes, but they are weirdos. They could be decent people, but people are going to look at them and they're going to be thinking, why are these guys trying to act decent, or they are goody two shoes or what? It doesn't mean that you're going to be doing charity work. It means that the main characters are expected to stick to their own business, only kill when it is necessary or tied to their objectives, or perhaps it's related to a matter of honor. And of course, the characters are obviously not going to be the wealthiest and with the best of reputations. So if you start to commit crimes, you probably won't have the money for it, and you will end up severely penalized, perhaps executed or punished, that they cut a hand off of you, or things like that. So it's a very brutal setting. This also means, because it is realistic, this also means that characters that are incompetent in battle can actually solve the entire campaign, because they could have a certain leverage. Eventually, it depends on the players that I manage to obtain. If I obtain players, the characters could start with certain advantages, a few subtle leverages in some cases. But for the most part, they are going to be underdogs. They are going to be left to their own devices, even though they could be considered like envoys of sort. Nobody is going to give them a lot of importance. They are not going to pay them too much attention. So it's about making your way through this brutal setting. And of course, it is a sandbox setting. There is complete freedom. You have an objective. And as I mentioned in my talk with Rick in the 28mm RPG channel, the link will be in the description below. When it comes to sandbox settings, you have your objective, but many things will flow, many side quests, many unexpected happenings will occur. It is one of the most complex campaigns that I have ever run. You could say that it is incredibly taxing for the game master, but that stimulates me quite a bit. I like those challenges. We're going to be handling things as a theater of the mind. I am going to give you descriptions of the different encounters, anything that you come upon during the adventure. And when it comes to mapping, you can have some very simple maps. If I tell you something like, you enter this 30 feet wide by 30 feet deep room with a table at the center and a couple of chairs, each one located in the northeast corner and the northwest corner, you don't need to write down the exact location. You just need to write down a couple of details. If you wanted to, you could have rather than a conventional map, you could have 30 by 30 room, table in the center, chairs in the corners in the north. And that's it. And the corridor could be marked with a line. So it's all about simple maps. The player characters will be expected to write down their own maps as we go along. This is not a campaign that rushes you. Like I said, this is going to be a campaign with the intention of a campaign. I have mentioned this before in another video. You don't need to compromise that, I want to play the full campaign. We're just going to be playing the first scenario. Let's see if things work. If things continue to work, we take it from there. Second scenario, etc. Second session. You can stop whenever you like. I am all up for campaigns that suddenly become interrupted. I enjoy what has been played so far, but it will be great if we manage to finish that campaign. Some critics call it one of the greatest campaigns, one of the greatest fantasy campaigns of all time. I have to agree with them. And I also am going to be avoiding the name of the campaign because there is a huge mystery. The campaign has a lot of intrigue, social interaction, and there is this titanic, ginormous mystery going on. So in order to avoid spoilers, I am going to avoid mentioning the name of the campaign. So like I said, I want to know if there are people interested in playing this game. I am so excited, and because the campaign is so great, you can actually, if you only had two or even a single player, things could actually work out. This is about, like I said, if your characters are incompetent in fights, get some help. get some allies that actually are able to fight it out, or stay away from the dangerous places. If you want to handle everything through courtly intrigue and moving from one place to another with perhaps an escort, you can do that. You could play as the most combat incompetent character that you can imagine, and you could still solve the mystery. So even if my ideal situation will be perhaps obtaining 4 players, but I am willing to try to make it work with at least 1. I hope, well, in order to see if you have played that campaign already, or if you know the spoilers for that campaign, I will only say that because you will recognize this. The religion handled in the campaign is kind of like a pagan version of the Catholic tyranny. Instead of having the real life Catholic tyranny, you have like a Norse mythology turned into religion tyranny. You will be able to recognize the campaign by that. So yes, I would love to see if there is some interest. I will be planning to run this during Monday. That is once a week, each Monday, from perhaps 6 to 9 Central Standard Time, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. if possible, like 3 hours. More or less, give or take. Of course, we always need to be flexible with schedules. Maybe you want to play a bit less, maybe 2 hours. But ideally, perhaps at least 3 hours. And like I said, it's all part of my starting plan. There are still many things to be taken into account. The main focus is, like I said, an emphasis on roleplay. You only need to worry about your character's actions, and like I said, mapping in some cases. Not all the time, but just having some notes that, oh, this room connects to this other room that contains this other room connects to this other room, as simple as that. We are not going to be using, like I said, tokens, no grids, no anything. I love using miniatures and grids and tokens and whatnot when it comes to a physical game, when there is great agility and speed when moving about the miniatures, etc. But I find it really clumsy in online games. So we're not going to be using any sort of board. We're going to be handling things with descriptions, narrations. Sometimes I will display an image of the, perhaps certain images of the zone, but everything is going to be described, allowing you to paint the picture yourself, figuring things out in your mind. There are no particularly strict problems that need to be solved with an image. So I hope there is interest for this campaign. Like I said, I am looking between 1 to 4 players. I would also like to know if you have played the core adventure for the Quick and Classic role-playing game, because I plan to use that as the introductory adventure for the campaign. You don't need to purchase anything. Quick and Classic is extremely easy to play. You will only need to write down your character stats, and all of the rolls are going to be made by me. It's going to be different from example, for your, like Zimba Room. In Zimba Room, the players make all of the rolls, but in this case, the game master is going to be making all of the rolls. So I hope this catches your interest. Let's see if we can get things going. Of course, when it comes to people that are interested, I am going to be quite strict, very, very strict about the selection process. If there is someone that I don't know anything about, like let's say Joe with no avatar and no videos, and oh, I want to play, obviously I'm not going to be putting too much faith in that player. I'm going to give priority to people that I have interacted with throughout the years. And it's not a guarantee. I need to feel that, like a gut feeling of giving that person a chance, that I think this person really wants to roleplay in this campaign. So please let me know in the comment section if you are interested in this campaign, or any comments or questions. They are always welcome. Please let me know. Thank you for watching my videos. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. So once again, thank you and see you later.